salutation to Dr. Rohani Saleh. We are from CE1 TEAM 11 with the research title University Students' Perception Towards Women Stereotypes.
So the title of our research study is the University Students' Perceptions Towards Women Stereotype. So the idea to do the study about this issue is because we have been knowing that the women stereotypes issues have been circulating in our community since a long time ago. Women are always being told certain stereotypes about themselves. It could be either about their education, about their leadership skill, their abilities and opportunities in working life, and a lot more. So we want to study and do a research about this issue to know whether this women stereotype is still exists among our younger generation or not by conducting a research among university students. So our chosen SDG is SDG 5, gender equality, which is to achieve gender equality and empower all women and girls. Some of the target under this SDG that caught our attention to study the issues of women stereotypes under this SDG is to end all form of discrimination against all women and girls everywhere. Also to ensure women's full and effective participation and equal opportunities for leadership at all levels of decision making in political, economic and public life. The research key dimensions and variables that have been set up for our study is women stereotypes, where we want to focus about the education and leadership, students' perception, where we want to know about their opinion and experience regarding these issues, and fight against stereotype, where we want to know about the strategies and approaches that can be used. So basically the purpose of our study is we want to study about these women stereotypes issues among younger generation to widen people's perspective, perceptions and thoughts regarding these issues, also to discuss about the suitable strategies that can be used to fight against these women stereotypes. So these are the research questions and research objectives that have been developed for our study. So we want to investigate the stereotypes against women in terms of leadership skills and education opportunities. We also want to determine the effect of stereotypes on women's life from university student perceptions. Also, we want to examine the awareness of university students regarding the irrelevancy of stereotypes and the approaches that can be used to fight against this issue. So based on the dimension, variables, research question and research objective that have been proposed, so we came out with 3 hypotheses that we want to test it. So the first one is stereotypes against women in terms of education, opportunities and leadership skills still exist based on university student perceptions. So the second one is stereotyping on women limiting women's capacity to strive the best for their life. And the third one is university students aware about the irrelevancy of stereotypes and the approaches that can be used to fight against this.
Now let us further discuss on literature review of women stereotypes. At first, let's look at women stereotypes in terms of education opportunities. The number of female students enrolled in higher education institutions is 4,597, while for male students is 10,791 in 1970. Percentage of female students taking science courses is low compared to percentage of male students taking science courses. An increment is seen when percentage of female pursuing tertiary education is 53.6% in 2016. Tough courses such as engineering and medical are seen not to be compatible for female students. Now I'm going to further emphasize about women's stereotypes in terms of leadership skills. Women leadership is not given enough attention because there are stereotypes against women where women are considered not to be able to be good leaders. Most women in Malaysia are employed as normal employees while least number of women working as the professionals. The perception of male workers towards female leadership was lower, where M is 2.93 and SD is 0.62 when compared to female workers' perception, where M is 3.23 and SD is 0.56. A research found that gender influences the differences of leadership styles. Only 8.6% of women holding minister position in 2017 and only 11% of women elected in parliament in 2017. These stereotypes can affect women in different aspects. Women will be more likely to disconnect work-related personality from feminine personality. Women will manifest ablation on their performances on certain aspects such as mathematics and sciences. It will further cause an ablation to their memory capacity as well. They will manifest bad performances, which are its quality and quantity of the performances. Alan Joe stated that Asian culture is not ready to acknowledge women's potential as leaders. Women receive less wage compared to men, although they have the same experiences, skills, and work with the same conditions as men. Less opportunities are also given to women to hold high-ranking jobs, albeit them having the same level of education and potential of productivity. It is found that less than 20% of women held high-ranking position jobs such as managers and senior officers. Now, let's talk about approaches to fight against women's stereotypes. The government should give free primary education, especially to those who are unfortunate. The related parties should increase level of education for both parents so that they'll be more open-minded. The Malaysian government should design a policy that will help and defend women's rights. The Malaysian government implemented a policy to increase women participation in corporate world to 30% in higher position. The Malaysian government had done an employment expansion from 1960 to 1980s, and it caused a significant increase in women's participation in government sector. The Malaysian government established a ministry known as Ministry of Women and Family Development in 2001 to further empower women by increasing their engagement in employment and entrepreneurship. After all the approaches carried out by specific parties, people are now more open to accept women's leaderships and to be given them equal education opportunities. Malaysia was ranked at 41st out of top 50 cities globally for female entrepreneurs. Around 187,264 out of 965 companies in Malaysia were owned by women, which majorly supervised in services. Women's achievement has outnumbered men's achievement. Malaysia also scored 0.771 in 2018 from Malaysian Gender Gap Index (MGGI). The percentage of women working as professionals and technical workers is 44.7, which is almost equal to men's.
My name is Nur Atikah, and now I will present the research and methodology for our report. The first part is research design. We use the primary data for our research, which is quantitative data. Quantitative data is the most suitable form because we are targeting certain number of respondents to analyze the women's stereotypes. We choose to conduct a survey with some questionnaires according to the hypothesis of our research. This survey will give us the numerical data to measure the outcomes of our research, like whether we should reject or accept the hypothesis. In addition, we also use secondary data from the articles, journal articles, and website to support the primary data. Next, the sampling for our research. Our targeted population is Malaysia university students, whether they are studying in local, government or private universities or overseas. As stated in our introduction, we need to know their perception regarding the women's stereotypes. We choose university students because they represent the young generation of our society and they know a lot about the latest education opportunities. They also involved in many activities, events, projects, and volunteerism which require them to show some leadership skills. For the research instruments, we create 13 questions based on our hypothesis and the demographics of the respondent. We use the method of adopt, adapt, and develop to create the questionnaires. As you can see right now, there is 3 questions for the demographics and 2 questions for hypothesis 1. These are the 3 questions for hypothesis 2. And lastly, these are the 5 questions for hypothesis 3. For the data analysis method, we choose based on the type of questions that we create. For the question in hypothesis 1, we only use percentage to analyze them and pie chart for the infographic. In hypothesis 2, we use the same methods to analyze the questions, but we also add the frequency and bar chart methods for the multiple choices questions, as the respondents can choose more than one answer. Lastly, for the question in hypothesis 3, we use all the methods as in hypothesis 1 and 2 and add more method, which is the average. Finally, the data collection for our research. First, we develop the survey form by using the Microsoft form based on 13 questions that we create earlier. We also prepare an introduction template with the link to our survey form. On 30th October, we used WhatsApp, Instagram, and Twitter as the platform to blast the survey form. The survey form started to receive the responses from that day until 9th November 2020. In total, we received 164 responses in that period. One of the challenges that we face for the data collection is to make sure that the questions that we create are understandable by the respondents. As our research is about the women's stereotypes and our respondents are males and females, we must make sure that those questions can be answered from both sides without any bias.
Hello, I am Amira and I'll present about data and findings. The first part is respondent demographic. Here, we can see 3 graphs, which are age of respondents, genders of respondents, and the type of universities the respondents study in. The first graph shows that the majority of respondents are from 19 to 20 years old students. The second graph says majority of respondents are female, and the last graph said that highest respondents are from Malaysian student studies in private universities in Malaysia. Moving on to data analysis. Under data analysis, all questions are categorized under their respective hypotheses. On the slide now is a question for H1.1. We ask the respondents either they agree that women are facing stereotypes regarding their education opportunities, and 66% of them agreed. Hence, H1.1 is accepted. Under hypothesis 1.2, 84% students agree that women are facing stereotypes regarding their leadership skills. Hence, H1.2 is also accepted. Overall, hypothesis 1 is accepted. We have 3 questions under hypothesis 2. For the first questions, majority, which are 30% agree and 24% of respondents strongly agree that the leadership skills stereotypes against women, as stated in the question, cause women to lose opportunities to become a leader. For the second and third question under hypothesis 2, majority applying that women's stereotype can limit women from exploiting their true potential and limit women promotion to a higher position in their career. In conclusion, stereotyping on women does limit women's chances to become a leader, to expose their potential, and limit their promotion to a higher position in their career. Therefore, hypothesis 2 is accepted. For the question under hypothesis 3.1, 98% are aware that the fact that everyone needs to play their own roles to fight against women's stereotypes. Majority think that giving opportunities for women to lead and the enforcement of policies to protect women's rights by the government are the best method to fight against stereotypes. Our 3 questions under hypothesis 3.2, 99% of respondents agree that women should have a chance to further their studies in any fields. Majority agree that choosing a leader must be based on qualities, not gender-specific. And lastly, majority willing to accept a woman as their leader if the woman exhibits good qualities of leadership skills. In conclusion, hypothesis 3 is accepted.
Hi, I'm Im Ewan. Let me proceed with the conclusion. We know that the goals of SDG 5 are all about ending stereotypes against women and girls by achieving gender equality and empowering women and girls. A total of 164 Malaysian students from 28 local and overseas universities have participated in our research by answering the questionnaires. From our findings, we conclude that all 3 hypotheses proposed in our research are strongly accepted, and we found out that 75% out of 164 respondents agreed that stereotypes against women in terms of educational opportunities and leadership skills still exist in Malaysia, thus making hypothesis 1 is clearly accepted. Next, 82% of the respondents believe that women's stereotypes will limit them from exposing their true potential, followed by women will be afraid to voice their opinions, while 97 respondents thought that the victims would have self-confidence issue. Women demanding in working sector will decrease and women's academic performance will decline. This result prove that stereotyping against women will limit their capacity to strive for the best in their life, thus making hypothesis 2 is accepted. Additionally, 98% of the respondents are aware of their roles to fight against women's stereotypes, where one of it is by giving opportunities for women to lead in the organization and clubs if they have the good qualities of being a leader. Furthermore, 99% of the respondents agree that women should be given opportunities to further their studies in any field they are passionate about. This result proves that students are aware of the approaches that can be used in fighting against women's stereotypes, making hypothesis 3 is accepted. Moving on to the recommendations, the role of parents and teachers become essential to impart a quality and gender-neutral education and should start from home and school, where the children receive the informal and formal education. They are encouraged to treat boys and girls in the same way. For example, by teaching them to equally divide the housework like washing the dishes or maybe cleaning the home compound regardless the gender. Parenting skill and education in the early stage is a powerful tool in shaping the gender-neutral community. Next, women and girls should keep on educating themselves as knowledges are powerful. Women should be brave to step forward and move confidently in pursuing whatever they want, even though it's a professional male-dominated area. Moreover, the government should enforce the policy to protect women's rights. Every expert was once a beginner. Therefore, we shouldn't judge the ability of a person gender-based, as everyone is gifted by their own strengths and weaknesses. We should stop splitting humans into pink and blue. With that, we humbly express our highest gratitude to Dr. Rohani Saleh and Ms. Izzati for the guides given and meaningful consultation sessions in completing this project. Thank you and stay safe.